Hey everyone, my name is Wedge. One of these days, they're going to have to calm down on Kaladesh spoilers. I honestly don't understand how they can keep releasing at the rate they're releasing and actually make it to the end of next week. But hey, today we have another day chock full of Kaladesh goodness, including a sick legendary creature, energy all over the place, and a lot more. So get ready for the ride of your lives. If you enjoy our preview coverage and you're as excited about Kaladesh as I am, make sure to hit that like button. Helps out a lot. Cultivator Caravan is 3 mana for a 5/5 artifact vehicle with crew 3. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Wow, okay. This is the kind of vehicle I did not expect. I like it a lot. You can play it as a mana rock and color fixer, and then later on use it as a 5/5 bash stick. It has a fair casting cost, fair crew cost, I think, and it dodges sorcery speed creature removal since, it isn't a creature. I find these types of utility vehicles to be very good. You're getting some nice fixing, some ramp, and then when you don't need that later, you can't go wrong with a 5/5. I can definitely see why this is rare. Competitively costed for sure. It's like they took Manalith and just stuck a motor in there somewhere. I approve. Key to the City is 2 mana for an artifact. You can tap it and discard a card, and up to 1 target creature can't be blocked this turn. Whenever Key to the City becomes untapped, you may pay 2 mana. If you do, draw a card. Yeah, I'll take it. Key to the City not only enables madness on a stick, it also makes it easier for your madness creatures to get in for damage, and it lets you refuel the next turn when your mana frees up. Key to the City is a fantastic card, and definitely worthy of at least testing in a madness shell. I mean, seriously, 2 mana isn't asking a lot. 2 mana to draw a card on upkeep isn't terrible, and you're guaranteed a madness enable each turn that has legitimate board impact. In a deck where you easily have 3 and 4 power creatures, making them unblockable is important. It'll feel really good using the key to discard a Fiery Temper and make my Incorrigible use unblockable. Just saying, seems decent. Say hello to the Thriving Cycle, a new common energy producing creature cycle. Each of these creatures give you 2 energy counters when they enter the battlefield, and whenever they attack, you may pay 2 energy counters and put a +1/+1 counter on them. Thriving Ibex, Thriving Turtle, Thriving Rats, Thriving Grubs, and Thriving Rhino. I actually really like this as a common cycle. It's a good way to incorporate energy generation into the set without feeling the necessity to use it on whatever created it. Thriving Grubs is a 2 mana 2/1 that just gives you some energy. It's a fine filler card in a red draft deck. Look, I'm not going to try to evaluate these cards too much. It's a common cycle that clearly exists to be filler energy producers in Limited, and that's perfectly fine with me. If you're building a deck that needs energy, I'm sure these will get a decent way through the pack. I like them for that purpose. Angel of Invention is 3 of anything and 2 white for a 2/1 angel with flying, vigilance, and lifelink, and fabricate 2. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. Okay, wait, what? Angel of Invention is beyond outrageous. So just a quick overview. This angel comes down and either becomes a 4/3 that has flying, vigilance, and lifelink, or she creates 2 2/2 servo tokens thanks to her Anthem effect. So she can bring in 6 power for 5 mana and boost the entire team. Sure, she has 1 toughness, but I don't care honestly. If she isn't killed right away, your team is going to be very strong. Best part, she has 2 power if you fabricate creatures. You know what that means, right? Alicia in Commander. Someone hold me. This is fantastic. Even beyond Alicia, Odric will have a field day with this many keywords. Brago will adore this. Anything that can blink it over and over again, honestly. Revelark brings it back for goodness sake. Angel of Invention having 2 power might be the best thing for the card, honestly. Figure that out. Shrewd Negotiation is 5 mana for a sorcery. Exchange control of target artifact you control and target artifact or creature you don't control. I mean, sure, it sounds like a good trade. I'll give you my Thopter token or Servo token or Clue, and you give me, how about Emrakul or Ulamog or I don't know, Kozilek. You see what I mean? Shrewd Negotiation is shrewd indeed. This upcoming standard environment is clearly going to be full of artifacts, and when you add those to clues, it's going to be so easy to give your opponent something stupid in exchange for something amazing. There is clear value here. Can't wait to find hilarious things to give to my opponents. Zedru, Guafahazi, there are definitely places for this in Commander as well. You could give your opponent a Darksteel Relic or a Jinx Idol or a Bronze Bombshell. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait. Lost Legacy is 1 of anything and 2 black for a sorcery. Name a non-artifact, non-land card. Search target player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with that name and exile them. That player shuffles their library, then draws a card for each card exiled from their hand this way. What makes this particularly unique among specific hate cards is that it says target player. You can choose yourself. Now, of course, that probably isn't going to happen all that much, but you know what? Wait a second, that isn't true. The internet has already started breaking Lost Legacy. You have a deck with a bunch of Shadowborn Apostle, Lost Legacy, and Surgical Extraction. You extract or legacy your Apostles, which will make up over half your deck. Play a Shelldock Isle, put an Emrakul underneath it, and since your deck probably has less than 20 cards in it by now, bam, Emrakul. As pointed out already, this is definitely not going to be consistent, and there is work to be done here, but you can bet your sweet patootie that I'm going to find a way to break this, because that's hysterical. It's like modern legal doomsday. This is glorious. Brew with me. Incendiary Sabotage is 2 of anything and 2 red for an instant. As an additional cost to cast it, sacrifice an artifact. The Sabotage deals 3 damage to each creature. There are a few important points to make regarding this card. First, it's an instant speed Anger of the Gods. That is amazing. Why is it amazing? Because it's going to wreck your opponent's vehicles while yours stay safe. Also, cool interaction. Since Crew is an ability that goes on the stack, you can put Crew on the stack, ready to animate a vehicle, then use this board wipe killing everything, then your vehicle becomes a creature and has a nice open path to Smash Town. This is a powerful red spell, add instant speed, add uncommon. Really think about that for a second. This is going to be one of those cards that you pray you aren't against in Limited. And at uncommon, seriously, it basically guarantees they will be opened. This is getting dangerous. Red for Limited is looking very strong. Wow. Rough translation, Wildest Dreams is double X and 1 green for a sorcery. Return X target cards from your graveyard to your hand, exile Wildest Dreams. Wow, okay, so it's 1 more mana than Regrowth at 1, so basically the same cost as Eternal Witness and you don't get a creature. At 5 mana, it's Restock, literally. The card's tough to figure out. While Regrowth and Restock are both great cards, the fact that Eternal Witness is a creature put it over the top. I'm not sure if this card is going to be that good in constructed play because the cost is very high to bring back multiple cards, but there is precedent for a card like this in Commander. You have graveyard interactive commanders. Sidisi loves bringing spells back, so does Riku, especially after you've already cast them. If you decide to build some kind of crazy lands deck, Titania can get some value off of returning key cards you've already used. The card is expensive for the cost, but that's what you pay for if you want your choice of anything from the graveyard. Playability is going to be a little narrow, I think, but I like it. Kambal, Consul of Allocation, is 1 of anything, 1 white and 1 black for a 2/3 legendary creature human advisor. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, that player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Talk about a slam dunk commander staple. Do we even need to try to find a place for this? Oloro, Karlov, even in something like Athreos? Kambal is an interesting card. Of course, he's great for punishing your opponents for doing most anything, but he's another cheap creature that can fit into Commander hate bear strategies. And weirdly, there's a huge contingent of Commander players who play those kinds of decks. It's super weird. Now, I don't think I'd make Kambal a Commander simply because creatures like Oloro and Karlov just provide so much more impact, you know? It's a weird situation, but I definitely feel like Kambal was made to be part of the 99 rather than lead the way himself. Ether Hub is a non-basic land card. When it enters the battlefield, you get an energy counter. You can tap it to add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. You can also tap it and pay 1 energy to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. I don't want to freak out too badly here, but I think that Ether Hub should have definitely been a rare, like I'm pretty sure. Tendo Icebridge is functionally the same thing, and that's a rare, a playable rare in some strategies. Ether Hub is very good, especially in a format where getting energy clearly isn't a problem. It comes down, makes colorless mana for you, and it brings an energy with it to create colored mana if you want. Ether Hub is a surprising uncommon if you ask me. Seems super flexible, amazing in Commander, certainly great in Limited, and I see this in Standard, easily, like without a doubt. Do not underestimate cards that give you any color of mana you want, even if it's just once, sometimes that's enough. Ether Hub is fantastic, and you should call yourself lucky that it isn't a rare. It's very surprising to me. Another day, another round of spoilers done. We had a lot of interesting cards this time around. What are you thinking? The Orzhov legendary creature is cool, Lost Legacy is going to make for some interesting modern shenanigans, I hope. And Ether Hub really might be one of the best lands we've seen in a while, no joke. How are you feeling about the set so far? Anything released today that speaks to you? Let me know how you're feeling in the comments and we'll talk about it. As always, subscribe for the latest and most reliable Kaladesh spoiler information you could ever need. This is the Manosaurus, I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. With each day that passes, Kaladesh booster boxes are coming down a little more in price. Today, the magic number is $95. Now we're really getting into the realm of a great deal. If you haven't pre-ordered the set yet and you want to, this may be the time to pull the trigger, especially if your local area doesn't exactly give you the best prices. If you want boxes, TCG Player has your back. Click the links, help the channel, fun.